Hello everybody, it's a Vertical Sandwich. Welcome back to Book Reviews. So today, boom, the light fantastic. And you'll notice when we do book Discworld reviews that all my books have like the same kind of cover, and that's because I read The Color of Magic, I read a borrowed copy, and then I bought a set of 10, like a matched set of the first 10 books. So, yeah. As it moves towards a seemingly inevitable collision with a malevolent red star, the Discworld has only one possible savior. Unfortunately, this happens to be the singularly inept and cowardly wizard called Rincewind, who was last seen falling off the edge of the world. Like, oh yes, by the way, spoilers. um, so, yeah, so the Discworld is swimming towards a big malevolent red star. Like, it's getting bigger and bigger, and it's going to be the end of the world. Like, this turtle that the world is riding on is swimming towards certain destruction. But, so, alright. So, in the passage I'm going to read, Rincewind has had to travel into the land of death to save Two Flower, who is dead. Um, and he's he's jumped out of Death's domain into the void. So Death looked down. That always annoys me, he said. I might as well install a revolving door. I wonder what they wanted, said Pestilence. Search me, said War. Nice game, though. Right, agreed Famine. Compelling, I thought. Oh, yeah, because Two Flower was teaching them to play bridge or something. We've got time for another fondle, said Death. Rubber, corrected War. Rubber what? You call them rubbers, said War. Right, rubbers, said Death. He looked up at the new star, puzzled as to what it might mean. I think we've got time, he repeated, a trifle uncertainly. Mention has already been made of an attempt to inject a little honesty into reporting on the disc, and how poets and bards were banned on pain of, well, pain, from going on about babbling brooks and rosy-fingered dawn, and could only say, for example, that a face had launched 1,000 ships if they were able to produce certified dockyard accounts. And therefore, out of a passing respect for this tradition, it will not be said of Rincewind and Two Flower that they became an ice-blue sine wave arching through the dark dimensions, or that there was a sound like the twanging of a monstrous tusk, or that their lives passed in front of their eyes. Rincewind had in any case seen his past life flash in front of his eyes so many times that he could sleep through the boring bits. Or that the universe dropped on them like a large jelly. It will be said, because experiment has proven it to be true, that there was a noise like a wooden ruler being struck heavily with a C-sharp tuning fork, possibly B-flat, and a sudden sensation of absolute stillness. That was because they were absolutely still, and it was absolutely dark. It occurred to Rincewind that something had gone wrong. Then he saw the faint blue tracery in front of him. He was inside the octavo again. He wondered what would happen if anyone opened the book. Would he and Two Flower appear like a color plate? Probably not, he decided. The octavo they were in was something a bit different from the mere book, chained to its lectern deep in unseen university, which was merely a three-dimensional representation of a multi-dimensional reality, and, hold on, he thought, I don't think like this. Who's thinking for me? Rincewind, said a voice like the rustle of old pages. Who, me? Of course you daft sod. A flicker of defiance flared very briefly in Rincewind's battered heart. Have you managed to recall how the universe started yet? He said nastily. The clearing of the throat, wasn't it? Or the drawing of the breath, or the scratching of the head and trying to remember it? It was on the tip of the tongue. Another voice, dry as tinder, hissed, "You would do well to remember where you are." It should be impossible to hiss a sentence with no sibilance in it, but the voice made a very good attempt. "Remember where I am! Remember where I am!" shouted Rincewind. "Of course I remember where I am. I'm inside a bloody book, talking to a load of voices I can't see. Why do you think I'm screaming?" "I expect you're wondering why we brought you here again," said a voice by his ear. "No." "No!" "What did he say?" said another disembodied voice. "He said no." "He really said no?" "Yes." "Oh. Why?" "This sort of thing happens to me all the time," said Rincewind. "One minute I'm falling off the world, then I'm inside a book, then I'm on a flying rock, then I'm watching Death learn how to play Weir or Damn or something. It was, why should I wonder about anything?" "Well, we imagine you will be wondering why we don't want anyone to say us," said the first voice, aware that it was losing the initiative. Rincewind hesitated. The thought had crossed his mind, only very fast and looking nervously from side to side in case it got knocked over. "Why should anyone want to save you?" "It's the star," said the spell, "the red star. Wizards are already looking for you. When they find you, they want to say all 8 spells together to change the future. They think the disc is going to collide with the star." Rincewind thought about this. "Is it?" "Not exactly, but in a... What's that?" Rincewind looked down. The luggage padded out of the darkness. There was a long sliver of scythe blade in its lid. "It's just the luggage," he said. "But we didn't summon it here." "No one summons it anywhere," said Rincewind. "It just turns up. Don't worry about it." "Oh, what were we talking about?" "This red star thing." "Right, it's very important that you... Hello, anyone out there?" It was a small and squeaky voice and came from the pitcher box still slung around Two Flowers' inert neck. The pitcher imp opened his hatch and squinted up at Rincewind. "Where's this, Squire?" it said. "I'm not sure. We still dead?" "Maybe. Well, let's hope we go somewhere where we don't need too much black because I've run out." The hatch slammed shut. That's the imp from the camera that paints pictures really fast, because that's how cameras work in a fantasy world. Rincewind had a fleeting vision of Two Flower handing around his pictures and saying things like, "This is me being tormented by 1,000,000 demons," and "This is me with that funny couple we met on the freezing slopes of the underworld." Rincewind wasn't certain about what happened to you after you really died. The authorities were a little unclear on this subject. A swarthy sailor from the Rimward lands had said that he was confident of going to a paradise where there was sherbet and Horus. Rincewind wasn't certain what a hoary was. Hories. And after some thought, he came to the conclusion that it was a little licorice tube for sucking up the sherbet. Anyway, sherbet made him sneeze. "Now that interruption is over," said a dry voice firmly. "Perhaps we can get on. It is most important that you don't let the wizards take the spell from you. Terrible things will happen if all 8 spells are said too soon." "I just want to be left in peace," said Rincewind. Good. We knew we could trust you from the day you first opened the octavo." Rincewind hesitated. "Hang on a minute," he said. "You want me to run around keeping the wizards from getting all the spells together?" "Exactly." "That's why one of you got into my head?" "Precisely." "You totally ruined my life, you know that," said Rincewind hotly. "I could have really made it as a wizard if you hadn't decided to use me as a sort of portable spell book. I can't remember any other spells. They're too frightened to stay in the same head as you." "We're sorry. I just want to go home." That's like, here's the thing, is like, you might suspect, oh, Vertical Sandwich picked out the best passage of the entire book. No, all of his books are like that all the time. Like, they're ridiculous. They're absolutely ridiculous. Like, where you have to put them down and, like, rub your head because they're so funny they're giving you a headache. Like, that's the kind of books that, like, are in this series. Like, boom, Color Magic, Light Fantastic. Boom, and wait, Light Fantastic, Color of Magic, Light Fantastic. Yeah, amazing books. Like, just super funny, easy to read, very well paced, Like, these are not thick books. They're all very, and like I said, you just go, like, you start reading the series and you go, man, I bet you the character of Rincewind wears pretty thin after 40 books. No, because he's only in 3 books of the first 10, I think. No, 4. He's in 4 books of the first 10. Like, there are other characters, and they're equally as bizarre and strange, and, oh, maybe he's in, wait. I might be forgetting. I have to look. I have to look at what the books are. Yeah, amazing. Just amazing stuff. Like, genuinely funny and just a pleasure to read. And, like, Terry Pratchett's just fantasy world is engaging and just goofy. And, like, are there things at stake? Well, yeah, kind of, like, yeah. But, like, in a very, you know, tongue-in-cheek kind of way. I mean, the guy just really understands fantasy. And really understands humor and just beautifully combines it together. If you really like fantasy novels and like you're looking for something that's like lighthearted and an interesting read, like this is it. Like it mocks everything about the genre. It's an absolute send up of the genre, but then also a delightful series of books, which is just amazing. It's just amazing because anybody can just be like make tongue-in-cheek D&D jokes, right? I mean, like, we all know what the tropes of fantasy are, like knights in shining armor and, you know, kings coming back to reclaim their thrones and, you know, dragons and stuff like that. And it's not that those things are, you know, anybody can kind of make jokes about those, but, like, Terry Pratchett really just takes those things and mocks them by integrating them into his world in unexpected ways. Or having people have those kind of expectations. Like putting a knight in shining armor in the world in a way a knight in shining armor would really react to the world, just being a normal guy. And people expecting him to be this like superhero and him just being like, I don't understand what's going on. Like, I just got here. Why is everybody pushing me towards this? Oh my god, is that a dragon? And that's not an actual plotline thing, but like, that's the kind of way that he takes the conventions of fantasy and twist them around to make them humorous. And these are very unique in being just like a delicious story that's out of kind of fantasy. Well, it does. It really sends up wizards in a way that is amazing. Right. But then he starts setting up other things, like his 3rd book is about witches, his 4th book is about death, and then like he has books about kind of all these things where he starts making these jokes about like scientists and like I said, there's an entire book about like Hollywood, right? It's just amazing. It's just very good, just incredibly well done. In fact, he like rewrote. I think one of his books is just Macbeth. Like it's just Macbeth as a comedy, told from the point of view of the witches. Like, but yeah. So like, this is the thing. I've been meaning to talk about this for a while, to talk about the Discworld series and how I'm getting into the Discworld series and what I really like about it. And so yeah, I can't really suggest it more than, but I mean, if you want to dip your toes in, like, this is where you start, right? The author, actually, there's a, if you go to the Discworld Wikipedia page, I don't normally mention things like this, but there's actually a map of Discworld books and how they connect and what different plot lines. And you should look at that because Terry Pratchett actually thought that the starting place for the series was like book 3 and that you should start there and that there kind of is this map. But, I mean, I just started at 1 and I'm reading my way through, and it's worked really well for me. Because I don't know how you necessarily... Well, you can. I suppose you could. You could start at book 3. Book 1 and 2 are very encapsulated. But yeah, so that's our review of the, you know, these first 2 books of the Discworld series, and when we come back with book reviews, we'll be reviewing something completely different. It will not be fantasy comedy. It will be something else. So I'll see you guys for that, and you gals, thanks for watching, and I appreciate it. Bye, everybody.